Well, that Ted Lasso sign behind me, which is new by the way, has never felt more meaningful than it does right now. So, welcome to part two, or as some in a country below yours might say, part deux. But if you've not seen part one to this video, please go watch it now because it's going to make a lot more sense if you watch it in that order. So, today we're going to be talking about striker options if we are not promoted, which obviously the odds of that happening have increased since the last video. But the majority of this comes from this poll that I ran. And the thing is, even if we are or we're not, we've got a lot of contracts coming off the books this summer for our forward positions. I've actually got it up right over here. Let me read it real quick. Obviously, Barrington and Obikwu are gone because they're loanee players. We've got Donovan Wilson coming off the books. We've got Pike coming off the books. We've got Danny Rose for another year. And we've got Cameron Gardner for a few more years. And you could probably throw in Grayson Giles in there too. So our options are, right now, honestly, our options are limited as we speak. But our options are going to be even more limited going into next year. So obviously, I think we're going to be looking to make some signings this summer. So this is going to be my options for if we are not promoted and we are back in League Two next season. And I've got 3 veterans on this list and 2 young guys on this list. And remember, these are not in any particular order, and these are just for conversational purposes only, but they're also, I think, realistic options. So let's start the conversations below about what you think about my guys, and let's add in some names that you think as well. Let's get into it. So let's start off the list with a hot name. Why not? And I say that because he's the biggest name on the list, not necessarily from a performance standpoint, but from literally a name standpoint. And I know there's some Americans that watch my videos, so you're going to be familiar with this name, and it's going to be even more familiar to Grimsby supporters. And that, of course, is Ollie Palmer. And I say that because Welcome to Wrexham's kind of a big deal over here in the States, and a lot of Americans have gotten into football because of that show. And but what those American viewers may not know is Ollie Palmer used to play for Grimsby. In fact, it was initially supposed to be a 1-month loan and ended up being I believe, a half-year loan. I think this was 2015, I believe. Somebody fact check me on that if that's not right. But who could forget that brace against Eastleigh? But seriously, before the season started, I did a League One prediction video, which it should still be up somewhere on my channel. And one of the things I did predict Wrexham to get promoted. But one of the things I said was I've got concerns about Palmer and Mullen because even when they were younger, they didn't perform in League One. So why would I think they're going to perform in League One years and years older? And obviously that's what happened. At this point, Palmer is completely out of the team sheet. He's been I don't know if exiled is the word. That's a little dramatic. But he's not even making the team sheets anymore. He's not even on the bench. He's not seeing the pitch at all. He does have 1 year left on his contract, but unless he's already worked out some sort of, I don't know, especially if they get promoted, some sort of legacy type deal where they're honoring his contributions to the team and what they've done going up to the ranks, and they allow him to play out his contract, especially in the championship. He's not going to play any. Unless something like that happens, which I highly doubt, they're going to be looking to move him, and it's going to be a buyer's market because they are looking to move him. And I do think League Two is his level. So obviously, hey, we need a striker. And because it's going to be a buyer's market, I think we're going to be able to get him for a good price. And I don't believe salary. I don't think any of that will be an issue. And the reason why this is an attractive option for me, at least in my head, is because he and Paul Mullen played off each other so well. And I can't help but think of he and Danny Rose playing off each other, because Palmer just brings something to the pitch that we don't really have right now, at least healthy, which is a big bruiser type striker. And I think that's only going to benefit Rose and well as obviously the whole team. Plus, he brings a leadership role. He brings something. He knows he's not the same player that he was when his first go around with Grimsby. He knows how to win now. He knows what it takes. He knows what the team needs. I think he's just going to bring a wealth of knowledge to us. It's just a move that I would like to see happen. And if you are a casual fan watching this, one of my American followers, just know that, yeah, I know he's got all the, you know, you're going to know him from the TV show. You're going to know him from maybe even his few seconds in the Deadpool movie. But just know that in League Two, he's quite a good player. And I think he's something that the team does need. So if this happens, bring your views on to Grimsby, bring your money on to Grimsby. You know, there's a trust you can join. There's some things you can, purchase, just throwing that out there. All right, let's get on to the next option. So next, we're going to be talking about Charlie Wyke. And look, Carlisle is going to get relegated. And I believe he still technically has another year left on his deal, but I don't see him staying around if they get relegated. And I am all for him coming to Grimsby if it's a 1-year deal. Okay, let me make that very clear. He has a injury history, and he has, I don't want to say a history of, but he typically comes with high wages and injuries, right? So I'm all for a 1-year kind of prove it deal, right? Let's give him a 1-year deal, show him that he's still got it. And if he does still got it, good for him. Help us get to the next level. Maybe stay, maybe go somewhere else. It's all good. But a 1-year prove it deal that benefits his side and our side. And the reason I say that is because I think next year might be, if especially of course in this video is a hypothetical, if we don't get promoted. And I think next year is the window that we have, because I don't think we have a single defender that's technically right now on contract past next year. And I believe we only have 3 midfielders that are contracted past next year. It's Green, Burns, and Turi, I believe, are the only one. So basically, we're going to be, if we don't perform next year, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of changes. And because of that, I say we go all out and we bring in someone like Wyke. And when he's healthy, he's very good. And I just think he'd be a good option. And he's going to knock in some goals. He's going to be looking to perform as he looks to extend his career, right? He's not completely over the hump yet, or over the hill yet, I guess I should say. And yeah, I think it benefits both sides. And I think this is an option the club should seriously consider, especially if Carlisle get inevitably relegated. So option 3 and 4, I'm going to kind of have to group together and explain together because they go hand in hand. Because I believe one is only an option if the other isn't. And let me explain. It's Michael Mellon or Andy Cook. And I say that because, and you might be thinking Andy Cook, but yeah. So Michael Mellon is currently under contract from, I believe, Burnley, but he's on loan at Bradford. Mellon has had spells in the Scottish Premier League, and I believe he was at Stockport last year or earlier this year. But I've heard, well, it's not that I've heard, I've read things about Bradford that they have brought him in on loan because his contract is actually up this summer. That they brought him in on loan on reason to see that if he could potentially be Andy Cook's replacement. Whether you believe that or not, that's up to your discretion. But Mellon has a lot of potential. He's just not completely shown it yet. And should we stay in League Two, I believe this is a good point for him to actually get his feet on the ground and become a uh, permanent player. He's been passed around a bit, and I understand that you, especially as a young player, that's not exactly easy to do, right? It's not exactly easy to do to get your footing and perform well when you're being somewhere different every 6 months. But I believe he should be an option for us, especially because he'll be on a free. But the other option to that is Andy Cook. So hypothetically speaking, should Bradford like Mellon and they decide to put Cook on, the chopping block, I believe he's an option we should also look into. And it's very similar to Wyke because I believe Cook only has 1 year left on his current deal anyway, but he could be probably brought in for a decent fee. And as long as it's a 1 year kind of deal, because Cook actually he's going to hit that point at some point where he stops performing just because of age. I believe he's currently 35, give or take a year. At what point does he stop performing? It usually happens pretty quick. So as long as it's a very short-term deal, same thing with Wyke, where it's you help us, we help you kind of thing, because he's still obviously performing quite well when he does play, and goals are never in question with Cook, in my opinion, and they haven't been for a long, long, long time. So his wages are probably pretty high, but again, if it's a short-term one year deal, I think our window next year is something that we need to seriously consider. And with Mellon, he's someone that I would definitely take a chance on for a long-term type of move, especially since he's going to be on a free. So, what do you think of these two options? Of course, some other factors that may come into this is whether or not Bradford get promoted or not. Who knows? Maybe we play them in the playoffs to see what exactly does happen. So, yeah, that's going to be factoring into this too. But I think either of those two could be a possibility for us next season. And the last option on my list is, honestly, to me, is probably the most intriguing option on my list. And even though I say that, it's also the person that I know the least amount about. And that is, and I'm sorry if I'm saying this name wrong, Jorgen Nelson, or Neeson maybe. I'll put it on the screen. Pronounce that how you want to pronounce it, because I don't know how to really say it properly. But this is a 21-year-old from the Faroe Islands. And that may sound, of course, very familiar, and that's because this is Turi's old teammate. I did some digging around, and I was very curious. Do they have any young potential players on his previous club that, perhaps he could give us a little bit of an inside track to get. And I look, and it just so happens one of their strikers fits that bill. And he actually scored in the Conference League qualifiers against Ghent. So that's pretty impressive. And he looks like he's got 10 starts in the Icelandic League. And in those 10 starts, he's got 8 goals. This was just last year overall. And forgive me for looking off screen here. I'm going to look and see. It looks like overall he's had 51 starts, 20 goals, but he's had 79 appearances. But his goal total has gotten better pretty much every single year. And his market value right now is currently the highest it's ever been. So I think this is one of those players where we need to jump on while we can and get, especially since we have Turi on our team. And I just think this would be really cool to see. Who knows what this could be? This could be a complete flop. This could be something that's completely not an option. I don't know, but I would love to see it. Tell me what you think. You know anything about this player? Because if you do, let us know. Let me know more in the comments about him. But he looks like an intriguing option and a long-term piece that we could possibly get. So we'll see what happens. So thank you for making it to the end of the video. Just as always, remember this is no disrespect to any of our current players. This is just completely hypothetical for conversation and fun. Try to keep it positive as possible in the comments. I don't like being a negative person, so please return that. And thank you for watching. I appreciate it. If you can, drop a like. You don't have to do anything else, but please drop a like, at least that, if you made it decently far in the video. And let's just see what happens. Grimsby America will be coming up soon. And I was delayed this week. And if you follow me on X, another shameless plug, you know that I was pretty sick for a few days. So sorry for delaying these videos, but I appreciate you waiting and I appreciate your view. And be safe. Have a good week, guys.